Hold on. Hey! Alright, I don't know if anyone's gonna see this, but, yeah, I just need somebody to tell me if they can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me? Oh, I can't see that, unfortunately. My eyesight is going. Persuadable! Thanks for the first that was going on. You can hear me? Yo, so, alright. So a lot of people have been asking me to do this real quick. So I'm gonna try to do it, okay? So for those who don't know, I am a registered and a licensed occupational therapist. A lot of people always ask what I do, and it depends on where I'm working. 1 minute I'm working with little children, trying to help them regain motor movement in their fingers so they can, participate in school. The next minute I could be working in a skilled nursing facility, helping somebody with a stroke learn how to eat or be able to walk or move their shoulders again. And so it's, and then about 3% of us are mental health specialists. Well, we're not specialists, but we work in the mental health field, right? And the reason why I got this is PerswayTalk, is that a lot of people have been asking me to do my little episodes once in a while, and I'll try my hardest not to take your time. So this is an experiment. We're gonna see if this works out. I'm not trying to replace Identity 5. I'm not trying to replace the video game content. It's all gonna get worked in, but I want to do a test run on something like this, just to see, hi everybody, just to see how it would work out. And for episode 1, I call this, let's have a real talk. And what I want to talk about real quickly on this, alright, is obstacles. Alright? That's a big fat under. I want to talk to you guys about obstacles real quick. The thing about obstacles is that us humans, we have the tendency to think short term. We think short term. We have these obstacles that kind of hit us, obstacles that come our way. And the problem with us is that we look at all these obstacles at once, and sometimes we have no idea how to go through it. It's kind of like looking at a big obstacle course and being like, how am I going to get to the other side? When what you should be doing is acknowledging, A, that there is an obstacle course, and B, how about you get through the first part of it first? What we tend to do is we tend to kind of be overwhelmed as humans. It's just a general thing. In your individual lives, you all of you, literally every single one of you who is watching this, you have things that are going on in your lives right now. It could be, you may think that you're ugly. You may think that you're too fat. You may feel you're too skinny. You may be actually embarrassed that your family doesn't have a lot of money. You may be embarrassed that you don't have a family. You may feel insecure that you're not doing well in school. You may not care about school. You may have a drinking habit. You may have depression. You may feel like you'll never be married. What woman would ever want to marry you, or what man would ever want to lay with you? You may have depression. You may have lack of confidence, not even knowing how to talk to a woman, not even knowing how to talk to people. You may have social anxiety. We all have different things. Whether the apple or oranges, it's still fruit. It's still something, and it's in the same within our own individual lives. And sometimes with our obstacles, we are overwhelmed. In order to be transparent, I want to tell you about some of my obstacles right now. I got a job in Arizona. I have no money. I don't have a home right now, so I'm going hotel to hotel. If it weren't for the generosity of others, I'd be sleeping in my car right now at 10-degree weather. I tend to get sick a lot. My body gets very sick. I've had tumors, and I've had tumors removed, so yeah, I have health issues. I have money issues, right? We all do, right? As a graduate student, I'm like over $150,000 in debt. All right, they tell you to go to college. They don't tell you about the debt. All right, and as a new grad, not everybody wants to hire you right away. So I'm jobless as of now. People make fun of me for spending so much time on YouTube and trying to educate people through YouTube. I literally have people who make fun of me for doing this right now. Like people who insult me and degrade me for doing this in my real world, my real life, my real world. So I get degraded. I've had people betray me. All right. Right now, I don't have a home. I don't even know if my car is going to make it to Arizona. No money. Right. But the way I look at it, right, the way that I'm maintaining my rationality and my sanity is I'm doing a few things, right? So you got the health thing, you got the money thing, you got the job thing. I love playing video games and trying to make people entertained. I love my little dad jokes, but I love having the meaningful conversations we're having now. I think that educators should do a better job at this. So I get ridiculed for doing the things that I really love and really enjoy. I have people like, oh, you're 28 and you're acting like a child on this video game. And I'm like, yeah, well, at least I'm saving lives in my own way and making friends. So everything that I'm telling you that's meaningful to me is like kind of falling apart right now, right? I have people who are trying to steal from my own network. Everything that we built up, I have people trying to steal from it for themselves, people I trusted. All right, so that's 5 things, right? So I have all these obstacles that are happening right now. Okay, lots and lots of obstacles, all right? And trust me, I want to lose my mind, all right? And now you all have obstacles as well, right? Some of the things that we mentioned before, the anxiety, the depression, or just the sadness, or the lack of motivation, or the numbness, or you may feel robotic. You have the same obstacles, they're just different flavors. It's the same drink, the drink of bullshit, just has a little bit of different sprinkles in there, all right? And what I'm trying to tell you is I'm trying to lead by example what you need to do. Try to find people who care about you, who you can talk to. Try to identify each obstacle. I just found out tonight. I'm supposed to leave for Arizona on Wednesday. I just found out tonight that my license might not even fully go through in Arizona because of the bureaucracy. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with bureaucracy. Everything's good on my part. Right? I'm licensed and registered in Rhode Island. Professionals, we have to get licensed in each. You take up national boards and then you have to get licensed. And there's a contract date, and then you have to, at the last minute, you're trying to get all your licensure. So I might have to head out to Arizona with no money, with barely enough gas to get there, and I might find out that I don't even get my license until next month, and I'm going to be out there, and I'm going to be like, well, now I'm really going to, at least it's warmer there. At least I can sleep in my car in Arizona, right? It's too cold over here. What I'm going to tell you is that with your obstacles, there are things to try to remember. You're allowed to be upset, okay? You're allowed to be emotional. You're allowed to feel those feelings, trust me. Some of the things that you can do. You take all that bullshit that you're dealing with and you ask yourself, what's my first step? You first have to acknowledge that there has to be a step in your own lives. I'm using my situation as an example. Some of you have it way worse than me. I work 7 years to be homeless right now, so I'll be all set eventually. Some of you don't have that luxury. Some of you don't have the luxury of knowing that everything will be all set. You're worried, you're scared, you don't know what's going to come. So here's what you do. You acknowledge that you have to take a first step. And you ask yourself, what is the first thing that I got to do? Only you can define that. That's not for me to tell you. It's not for a therapist to tell you. It's for you to figure out. It's for somebody like me as a therapist to help you figure that out. It's not for me to tell you. It's for me to help you figure it out. So here's what I need to do. I need to figure out what's going on with my license stuff first. If we don't think I can get my license in time, then that's when I got to figure out the next step. Okay, am I going to stay here for a little bit longer? What am I going to do, right? One step at a time. But there's a lot of things that I have right now. I can walk with my 2 feet. I can see with my 2 eyes. I can see the lovely comments that you guys are sending me right now. You guys send me emails telling me how you wanted to commit suicide and now you have a glimmer of hope because my stupid videos make you smile. You guys send me emails saying that I've inspired you in some sort of way. Some of you take precious time to draw me art. I love the art, right? These are things that I have. I know that I'm valued in this world. I know that I have 2 eyes and I'm relatively able-bodied and I can move around. And so I'm going to take those things that I do have and I'm going to figure out the first step. And then I'm going to figure out the second step. For some of you, think of whatever grade you're in right now, whether you're in middle school or high school or in college or whatever. Think of just where you are right now. Imagine if you were 6 years old, I say, hey, by the way, you're going to get fucked with so much homework, right? You'd probably be a little overwhelmed. Be like, oh my God, I got like 20 years of homework to do. But you took it one step at a time, one day at a time, one grade at a time. You dealt with each obstacle as they came and you were able to make it, hopefully, right? You're still here, so you made it. Regardless of if they made it to society standards, you're still here. That's a good thing, right? So whenever we feel overwhelmed, whenever we honestly feel overwhelmed, whether it's anxiety, depression, all the examples I gave, feel what you need to feel. It's the same thing with a breakup. The worst thing that people say on a therapeutic level is, oh, just don't think about them. We just went through a breakup. That's like your mother dying and being like, hey, fuck it, don't worry about her. You know what I mean? She's dead now. Just forget about it. What? No. All right, so your feelings, when you're supposed to feel, you're literally supposed to feel, okay? So when you feel overwhelmed, feel it, let it out. Like, let it out on a good therapeutic level. Let it out on a good healthy level. Don't build it up. Feel them. Don't try to avoid them. If you try to avoid them, trust me, you're going to implode and then explode. That's not a good thing. So feel what you need to feel, and then once you let it out, get to planning. You have survived. Like literally all of you have survived. You're right here, right now. Like you're right here, right now. You all have dealt with some crazy shit in your lives. All of you have. And you're still here. You've survived. You're here right now. You can't argue that you're here. Well, not literally here, but you're watching. Which means that you have the ability to overcome obstacles. You've done it your entire lives. So feel what you need to feel and try to identify that first step. And I'm not going to tell you go outside and make out with a tree and give high five to a bird. You know, you're going to feel misery. You're going to feel upset. You're going to feel sadness, deprivation. You're going to stop eating well sometimes. You might lose sleep. It might be a habitual cycle. But I can guarantee you can get through it when you feel like you can. Feel the feelings you need to feel. Let it out. Get to planning. Ask yourself what's the first step. The minute you ask yourself what's the first step, that's the first step. So the second step is actually to figure out what you think is the first step. Was that confusing? It's not. Your first step is to recognize that there is a first step. Because that's your first process. It's called metacognition. It's your first process of identifying that you need to overcome this, and now you're starting to think of a plan. So when you first start realizing I need to make a plan, I need to figure out what the first step is, that's your first step. And then you got to start thinking, what do you have to do? Just think it. You got to have insight before judgment, so think it. Literally, this is what we teach on a psychological level. Think it. What is the next step? Okay, you know what I got to do is I got to call the Arizona Licensing Board tomorrow. I got to get down to the bottom of this. What's going on? My stuff is good. They have to look for verification from Rhode Island, and if anybody knows how the government works, it takes forever. So you identify that step. You start planning. When you think of one step to do, when you follow through with it, you will feel better. I promise you, you will feel better. How many of you right now, there are things in your life that you want to do, and you're finding excuses why you're not going to do it? Then you feel like shit because everything that you want to do, you're not doing. It's called procrastination, and it's very bad for all of us. I'm serious. I want you guys right now, name one thing that you want to do that you haven't done in a while. One thing. Go to the park. Go to the beach. I want to be able to write that song that I started. I want to be able to finish the music that I started writing. I want to talk to the girl that I've been eyeing for a while. But I don't. How many of you have something that you've just wanted to do for a while and you keep finding excuses why you can't do it? And then what happens is that all the things that you want to do that you're not doing and you're finding excuses not to do, they pile up subconsciously, and that is the beginning of a very, very scary, dark space. When you're not doing the things you want to do, you'll feel bad. You'll feel bad that you're not being a good mother or a good brother or a good sister or a good employee, or you hate your job. You hate your job because you want a different job, but you feel stuck at this job, or you want to do this, but your parents are telling you this. You feel stuck. And that is why you need to break down your obstacles and steps. And when you achieve those individual steps, you will feel good. And I can guarantee it that you deserve to feel good in this world. But what we do is we look at the obstacle course and we just say there's way too many obstacles. We're overwhelmed and we're still sitting there at the starting line because we're just dwelling at how big the obstacle course is. And because we're just fixated on how big the mess is, we're still standing here. We know we're standing here. We haven't made any progress, and we feel like shit because we know that there are things that we gotta do and we're not doing them because we're procrastinating, and we're finding excuses because we didn't identify that we need to take it one obstacle at a time. And then when the obstacle came, we didn't figure out how to overcome it. All I'm going to say is that there are things you can control and things you cannot control, and I just hope that you choose to control to be a good human being in this world. I know that there are elements that are out of our control. I know that. Some are kids, you have parents that you can't get away from. I acknowledge it. I'm not going to pretend like everything is conquerable right away. But what I will tell you is that you still have control over some things in your life, and that's how you conduct yourself, and that's who the person that you are. And you deserve to be happy in this world. I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk. I don't want to keep rambling on. I just wanted to let you know that in the face of big obstacles, you're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed. But you're allowed to look at those obstacles and figure a way out. And eventually you're allowed to smile like I am tonight. A genuine smile, one that's not just in front of the camera, but it's a mixture of a little bit of sadness, but hope that I'll get through this just like all of the other obstacles in my life, just like you all have as well. You can't argue it. You guys have gotten through some bad obstacles in your lives. You're still here and you can keep doing it. I promise you. If I can teach you how to kite in Identity 5, I'm going to teach you how to kite the miserable people, the negative, toxic people in this world. I will teach you how to kite them as well. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a good evening.